Hello all, my name is Lloyd. This is a little tutorial that I'm doing for the Cisco packet tracer and also how to set up a switch on a network. Now I'm only showing how to set up a switch because I physically don't know how to do anything else. I've literally learned the very basics and I love the sound of my own voice. So I just want to do a little video just to sort of show myself that I can set up a switch, show others in the process that I can also do it, and hopefully help other people if they want to see the order that I do it in, and perhaps they just starting off themselves and they want to know, how other people do it compared to themselves. They can pick up little tips as well. Now, unfortunately, I am from a broken home. Not a lot of cash, not a lot of dosh for old Lloydie boy. So we're not going to be able to do it with an actual Cisco router or switch, which I've seen for like 800 odd quid. If anyone wants to donate, that would be fantastic. But we're going to be doing it through packet tracer actually, which I just shut down. I've actually done 2 videos previous to this one. The second video I did was much better, and I realised my microphone wasn't connected in. So 9 minutes of nothing. Fantastic. I'm going to assume if you're watching this video, you already know packet tracer, you already know how to use it. So I'm not going to go through the absolute basics, but at times I'm probably going to pick up on little things and say why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, just for those people perhaps who are really early on learning, see if they pick up any tips as well. Now I know enough to do it, but I've still made a list of processes of what I'm going to do and in which order. I just find this order is a little bit easier to remember, and I've written it down so it's even easier to remember again. We're going to secure the connection, and then we're going to encrypt it, which I'll show what that means in a second. We'll set the host name, because imagine if you've got 3,000 switches, you're going to need to name them separately so you know which one you're connecting to. We'll set a banner for any idiots who want to come in and try and hack us or try and get into our switches or routers. And then we're going to set up the VLAN and finally do a ping check. And I've just done a couple of IP addresses, subnets on the bottom so I know where I'm going to. So I put 2 PCs in because when I do ping it, I'm going to ping this PC through the switch. So I'll put it in for the second, but I'm obviously not going to do anything with it. Now, exactly the same as if you were in the field, you could technically just stick a copper straight through into both of these, and the switch will do the rest. Done and dusted. Maybe fine for the house, perhaps fine even for a business if you're an idiot. You're going to want to set up some passwords, some encryption. Going to set up some details so you can connect to it remotely rather than a console. So you don't have to get up off your geeky ass. You can literally sit in the same seat and remotely access the switch and administer it. So initially what you're going to have to do, and what's great with this program, is it is literally exactly what you would do if you were a network engineer, I suppose. When I am working for GCHQ, CGI, the top brand places, MOD, when I'm at the top of the mountain, I'll be looking down on all you peasants. But this is exactly what you're going to do when you're in the field of work. So initially setting up the switch is going to be through the console, so that it can give you access to connect to it remotely with a copper straight through a lid point. But it's always going to be through the console. Now I believe there's only one console port on the back of each switch. Not too sure about the newest ones. I've only ever looked at the 2960s, to be honest with you, so I don't know a huge amount. And I suppose you could start by asking the question, what is a network? Don't really know. I don't know. I know to set a switch, but that's pretty much it. So let's set it up. We would normally connect the console wire and then go through a desktop app or program such as PuTTY, Terraterm, something like that. I'm going to obviously do it through the terminal because I'm doing it through packet tracer. Sound like Eli, the computer guy. What is a packet? A packet. What an idiot. I'm going to be doing it through the terminal, which would open up exactly the same as PuTTY would. It's all pre-configured. Perhaps the only thing you need to configure is what communication port it comes from your PC or laptop. Normally you'd select it in your device management in common ports, which would be like COM7, COM1, etc. But this is obviously pre-configured. Child's play. So we're into the terminal. Now, realistically, you could obviously do everything you want now because there's no password set in it. It's basically your basic startup config. But we're going to want to set some passwords. That's the first thing I put down on my list. Secure the connection and encrypt it. So let's set a password so that we can't, or unauthorized people can't get into our privileged exec mode then. So we're going to enable it to get into our privileged exec mode for the first time. We're then going to go to the global configuration, which is done through the conf terminal, and we're going to enable secret. Now, I'm going to just put Cisco for the time being, because obviously it's through Cisco that I'm doing the training through the Open University. If you type in passwords in, such as Cisco 1111.0.0.0 password, you know, you're an idiot. Let's be honest. You shouldn't even be watching this video, you know, because you're an idiot. So I'm going to put Cisco for the purpose of this video, but use something a little bit more tricky. I'm also going to use the word secret instead of password, because as we'll see in a second, when I show the running configuration after I've set this password, it'll hash it with an MD5 hash. Now, we're not going to be able to do that with the line console passwords or the VTY passwords. We're going to have to do a separate command, which I'm assuming you're probably going to know, but I'll show you anyway, and I'll show you why I'm doing it as well after I've done this part. So we enable secret Cisco, that's done. We can test that it's working by coming all the way out, with X out of that, press return. So it'll still let us get into the switch, but when we enable to get into its privileged exec mode, it's then asking us for this Cisco password. So at least we know the password is working, which is fantastic. Let's secure it though for the actual console, because as I said, if some idiot comes up with his console wire flapping it around like as if he's King Ding, he's got his laptop plugged in with his serial and he sticks it into your switch, he's going to just be able to get into the switch exactly the same as you are. Yeah, okay, you may not be able to get into privileged mode now because you put your password, but he can still stick his wire into your console at the end of the day. So let's secure that as well. So we'll go into global configuration. We'll go to line console 0. Again, there's only one console port on this switch that I know of, so it's always going to be console 0. If there was 2, it would be console 1. If there was another one, it would be console 2, console 3, console, etc., etc. We only need to protect the one port that's on your console 0. So we can see that we're now configuring the console line. So what we'll do is we'll put the password. Actually, before we do this, let's exit this. Let's show running config. So we can see that the MD5 has actually hashed the secret that we set for enabling privileged mode. Now, when we do the password on the console, it's not going to MD5 it, because we can only type in, I'll show you here, console 0. We can only type in password and then the password, so it's not going to hash it. We'll do the command in a second. We're going to press login as well, because that means then every time we try and connect into the switch through remote access, it's going to pop up with a request to log in first with your password. So it stops you there in your tracks before you even go anywhere. Off the console, sorry, not the remote access. Log in. Lovely. Now, let me show you what I mean by the hash. See, line console password is shown in plain text. We obviously don't want that. If somebody punched me right now and I fell off my chair and they sit in my chair, they're going to know every single password I've set on this switch because it's all in plain text. So let's hash it, and we do that simply by going to global configuration. We go to service password encryption. I'm just pressing tab so it brings it up quickly because I'm assuming most of you are going to know what we do in here. I press enter. Next time we go to show run config, it's now hashed our password on the line console. It's obviously going to do the same now every time we set up the V2Y passwords or any other passwords. It's going to hash them exactly the same as this. So we don't need to keep typing in, which is really nice. Thanks Cisco. So we've secured those two connections. I've secured the enable privilege mode. I've secured the console port. We're also going to want to connect into this switch remotely through, if you set up Wi-Fi at the later stage, or if you set up copper straight through, so we don't have to keep getting up off our nerdy asses and collecting our laptops directly to the switch through the console cable. So that's, I think, what we'll do next. We'll secure with the VLAN connection with the VTY virtual terminals, and at least we know the passwords are all done, they're all hashed, and that first part of the list we can tick off. So let's go to configure global. We'll go this time to line VTY. We can see here the VTY is 0 to 4, 5 to 15. Now, as far as I know, some videos that I've watched previously on YouTube, apparently on Cisco switches, I'm not too sure about the routers, but on switches at least, only 16 people can connect remotely at a time. So what we're doing is we've got logical ports, and let's say, that are reserved for 16 people. I'm just going to secure every single one of them. So whoever tries to get into whatever port remotely will still need to type in a password. So we'll configure port 0 to 15 or the 16 ports. We'll put exactly the same as we did with the console password, and we'll do Cisco. And again, don't do Cisco because it's not very secure. And we'll make sure that we're asking the user to log in when they initially connect into the switch. The other thing we're going to have to do with this particular part, a little bit more tricky than the console. Obviously, we connect through to the console with the wire. When we connect remotely, you may be doing it through Wi-Fi, but you may also be doing it through the copper straight through. We need to actually turn the port on. Let's exit out of this. What we will do is I will show IP interface brief. It's just going to show us all the ports that are available on this particular switch. And we can see that they're all down because nothing is connected into them apart from the console, but that console isn't shown on this list, I don't think. No, it isn't. So basically, we can see here the VLAN 1 or the VTY that we were just setting up the password on, that is administratively done, which basically means nothing is connected into it, but the actual port is shut off. So imagine that imagine that the port is an actual physical port, which it isn't. It's a logical port. So pretend it's a physical port. Let's pretend it's been cut off or blanked off. We cannot plug anything into it at the minute. It's switched off. So we're going to need to switch it on. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to global configuration. We're going to go this time to interface VLAN 1. So we can see now we're actually configuring. We're in the config interface of VLAN now, so we're on this particular part of the switch. And we're going to need to set an IP address, which is the way that obviously we connect from host to host, from node to node, etc., etc. So what I've done, I've put in here what IP addresses we're going to use. I think I'll put the switch as host number 100. The subnet is going to be obviously 255.255.255.0. So it's this part, which is the network, and then this part, which is the hosts. So let's do that now. IP address, and of course, if you get stuck and you think, oh, well, what do I need to put now? Question mark it. It'll show you exactly what you need to put. You put the IP address. It's now going to be asking for an actual IP address. So 192, etc. 192.168.100. You're also going to need, if you question mark it, it's now asking for your subnet mask. So let's go 2.5, 2.5, 2.0, enter. That. If we check again the IP interface brief, it's still going to show administratively down because we haven't switched the port on. So we're doing the way the Cisco writes this is absolutely ridiculous, just to confuse you a little bit more. It is shut down, so you want to no shut down. You know, it's kind of stupid, but hey, that's the way we do it. Okay, so that means now if we exit back out to executive mode and we show IP interface brief, there he is. So VLAN is now on an actual IP address that we've set up, and it is actually it means that people can connect into that port. But of course, they can connect into the port as long as they know the password, because the password we set earlier. So we've secured the connection, we've encrypted them. We have set up the VLAN, so I suppose we could put that back up there, but we'll leave it there for a second. We'll connect to the switch now through the copper cable rather than doing it through the console anymore, because it just makes us look like as if we know exactly what we're talking about. So let's exit out of this. Exit to this. Okay. Let's delete the console. Straight through fast Ethernet to fast Ethernet. Let's speed up time. Now, as I said, we haven't really done any configuration apart from passwords and setting ports up and stuff. This switch would still work now if we connected it up. As simple as that. That's what a switch does. We are just configuring the security, the safety, the administration side of things. Let's configure the IP address of the computer. Now again, we're using the same subnet mask as what we did on the switch, because if we had a router here that was going to the bigger, wider internet, everything this side of the router would be under the same subnet mask with the same network part of the IP address. So that is going to have to be 192.168.1. There's your network ID. We'll set, as soon as the switch is 100, we'll do this nice round numbers as 10. This is the computer, and the subnet mask exactly the same. Okay. Now, we can actually connect to the switch now through the command prompt, so we don't need to necessarily do it now through a PuTTY or through term or whatever it's called. We can now do it through the telnet protocol, and we're going to enter in the IP address of the switch that we set earlier. It's obviously going to ask us for the password because we set the password on the VLAN connection, which is how we get into the switch now. So of course that's just Cisco. Press enter. We can do now exactly the same commands as we were doing on the terminal earlier through the console switch, but we're just doing it through the copper straight through, so we look like Billy Big Balls. Let's enable same password again, Cisco. Scratch you. Right, what's next on the list? Host name. Let's do the host name. Imagine you're in a business like me, in perhaps 6 months' time. I'm in GCHQ. They've asked me to set up a brand new network because they've just come up with some fantastic idea and they pay me absolute millions of pounds. They want me to set up my own network because they don't trust anyone else. But I've got perhaps, 80,000 switches. I'm not going to be able to get away with leaving them all as a default name switch because I won't know where the hell I am. So let's name it by going to global configuration, by doing host name, and we call it, let's say, switch 1. You could do switch 1 ground floor, switch 1 house, switch 1 living room. You can do, let your imagination run absolutely wild. No problem. We'll call it S1 for the purpose of this tutorial. Done the host name so we know where we are. Banner. Now, before I do anything else, if the power went down right now, my computer switched off, I would lose everything. The switch would be powered down, the computer would be powered down, everything would be lost. I want to save it to the non-volatile RAM. Now, the non-volatile RAM is basically the startup protocol or the startup configuration files. So basically what we want to do is, like I typed in earlier, where we show running config, we basically want to copy the running config into the startup config. If that makes sense. Now you can do it something like this, copy running config to startup config, but there's no need to type all that. Let your little fingers rest. We just do copy run start. It's asking us basically if we want to overwrite the file that's already there. Yes, we do, because we want to copy the details into it. Yes, building configuration, done. That means at least now if I reboot this switch or router or whatever I'm administrating at that time, I'm not going to lose it. I did it at that point because to redo all the passwords, it's just going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. Let's do a banner. Banner is pretty much backing up our passwords. I've heard a couple of stories where people have gone to court, or companies have taken people to court because they tried to hack into their network through the switch, through the router, etc. And they've basically got away scot-free because they haven't had a banner saying unauthorized access is not authorized. If you're going to know that you shouldn't be getting into a switch, you don't need a warning to tell you that. If you do, you're an idiot. But let's do it for these cretins. So global configuration, let's do ban match of the day is how I remember it. It's obviously message of the day. Put it between two deletable figures, letters, whatever you want to do. But actually use like hashtags. So I normally use these little speech bubbles so I know what starts and ends. Let's do hash. So it's basically asking us, we're going to enter the text in, we're going to say what we want to say in our banner, and then we end in it with the same figure there, the same hash there. Okay. So let's do little stars, so it looks really pretty. And we're going to say unauthorized access. There. And then we end it with a hash, press enter, done. That is our banner done. The way we can test this now, I suppose, is if we just exit all the way out. We're going to see if our passwords work. We'll check that the banner shows. We'll finally check that all the passwords we have currently set are hashed so that nobody can just see them in plain text. And that is pretty much the switch setup for connecting through telnet, through remote connection. We can connect with through console. We've got a password for each type of connection we make, apart from the fast Ethernet, but it's exactly the same process. But we're obviously not going into that much detail at the moment. We've set up what we need to, and then we'll finally do the ping check. Get out of the way. So let's exit out of this. So we've lost connection to the foreign host, as it calls it. We've lost connection to the switch through this command prompt. So we're just going to reconnect back into the telnet protocol 91.168.100. It connects to it, and we can see if we're asked for the password with the login details, but we've also now got this banner saying unauthorized access is not prohibited, stay out. So it just warns people that they shouldn't be going into it if they're not if they're unauthorized to. They're not authorized. Cisco enable, the password still works to get into priv, and that is pretty much done. Reno. Let's try and ping it. Let's exit all out of it. Go to this. Set up the IP address for this one. We'll sort out the IP configuration for this PC just for the purpose of the ping. 2.168.1. The other one was 10, so we'll do this one as 20, so nice round numbers. Same subnet mask. And we'll put a copy string through onto this. And flash is in 2. Speed up times it connects. Right, if your firewall was set up to reject pings, then obviously this is going to work. You just need to turn the firewall off for a second just to test the pings are going through, to test the network is working. But I know that the firewall isn't active on these PCs, so it should work. Go back into the command prompt, and I'll type in ping 192.168.120. So the ping should be going from this PC up to the switch and down to this PC. And we are getting replies from PC2. So we know 4 packets were sent, 4 received, none were lost. And it was pretty much instant, we got the replies back. So we know that the connection is sorted. If we had a router, everything this side of the router would be connected to this switch. We've configured the switch, we've literally done everything we needed to. The beauty of this now, with this particular setup that we've got, say we're based in this office, we know we can access the switch through remote access, but also now if we go onto this computer and we go to the command prompt, we can still use the same telnet protocol, 192.168.100, and we can actually connect to the switch through this PC as well. So we've literally just put a connection down to this PC, and that's the only thing we've done to this one, and obviously set an IP address, but we can still connect to the switch. If we did the same with another PC, as long as that PC is given a static IP address or even a DHCP IP address pre-configured, we know that we can connect to this switch, whichever port we put on this side of the router. That is pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. There's probably a few more bits and bobs I need to do, need to show, but as I said, I'm not an expert. I've only learned the basics, and I'm just trying to teach you really, because I love the sound of my own voice. If there's anything else you want to see, let me know. my name is Lloyd. Hopefully I'll be working with GCHQ in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months maybe. I won't set my targets too high. And thanks ever so much for watching. Good night. God bless.